Part 98. I was a village chief in a primitive society. Author, Big White Monster. Chapter 975. Wow! The rain keeps falling from the sky, and the rainy season has arrived. All tribes are beginning to cope with the arrival of the rainy season, but none of them are from the Yanlong tribe. No one can be as calm as the Yanlong tribe, and the entire tribe seems to be at ease. The schools and workshops in the Yanlong tribe are all going on as usual, and there is no chaos at all due to the arrival of the rainy season. On the contrary, everyone felt very relieved, for no other reason than that everyone stayed in the room and had something to do. And since we have all 3 meals, we don't have to worry about eating at all, so everyone naturally feels at ease. Subai put his hands behind his back and looked outside with his black eyes. He was still in a good mood. Wu, the preparatory soldiers are all ready for the trial and will participate in the trial in the next few days, Yanhua said seriously. Ever since the Horn Girl became a totem warrior, her burden has suddenly become heavier. Every year in the rainy season, preparatory warriors will participate in the trial, and the training in the rain is spear training. Spear training, the most important thing is accuracy. In addition, there is another item added last year, which is shooting in the rain. Using a longbow in the rain is not an easy task. If you are not strong enough, it will be easy to shoot the arrow. Knocked down by rain. Moreover, the patter of raindrops forms a large rain curtain, which is also very confusing to people's vision. Without accurate perception and judgment ability, this training is easy to make mistakes. Of course, in the rain, bow and arrow training was added last year, and Yanhua and others also stood out from this training. Obviously, the results of last year's training were well reflected in the awakening ceremony. There is no other reason, because so many people have awakened Totem Warrior. This has something to do with everyone's food, rest, and daily training. They are newly awakened preparatory warriors. They will definitely not endure hardship at the beginning of training. You must remember to keep an eye on them. Sudbai's black eyes were still looking at the rain outside the window. As for those who can't persist, just eliminate them. With the rapid development of the tribe, he no longer needs those who are fragile and those who cannot endure hardship. In this cruel primitive era, if you cannot endure hardship, there is no way to grow into a real warrior. I understand the witches, those warriors are all very conscious, know that awakening is hard to come by, and none of them dare to be lazy. Yanhua nodded. Nyojiao Niang thought that these warriors had lived a good life for a while, but they might not be able to adapt to such high-intensity work. Of course, their lives only changed after Subai came. Although it hasn't been long, it can be regarded as some time has passed. Recently, I want you and Alando to keep an eye on those guys. The future of the tribe depends on them. Subai was very serious. This was the case in the primitive era. You relied on strength. If you were not strong, you would be easily swallowed up by other tribes. What Subai wanted was to develop the city in the primitive era. Since you want to develop a city, you must have strong strength. Otherwise, your tribe will have been overrun by other tribes before you can slowly farm. Although he can rely on the wisdom of the earth to constantly invent more advantageous cold weapons. Even completely crushed thermal weapons, but after all, it will take a long time to be completely perfected. Due to material limitations, current explosives cannot be produced in large quantities at once. Moreover, those explosives mainly have to deal with dangerous weapons. With the arrival of beasts and Yanjai, as for the people of other tribes, they still have to rely on warriors and cold weapons. Although cold weapons can also be used by ordinary people, and can even be used better, if this weapon is in the hands of a warrior, can it exert greater value? Totem warriors are much better than ordinary people in terms of reaction and physical strength, and weapons can exert greater power in their hands. It is completely understood that according to the training and upgrading methods given by Wu, Their strength will definitely increase greatly during this rainy season, Yanhua said very confidently. Yes, this year's rainy season training is more intense than in previous years. It should be said that it is more stringent. In previous years, the hands and feet of the soldiers were free, because training in the rain was already very difficult. So the soldiers had no weights on their bodies. At most, they only carried an animal skin bag with some weapons inside. But this year was different. Subai specially asked the workshop to make many weight-bearing bags. These weight-bearing bags must be tied to the hands, feet, and waist. The weight is not small. The purpose is to exercise the soldiers' willpower and physical fitness. Such a perverted training method is only available to the Yanlong tribe. Subai is thinking that when the time comes after the warriors were trained, they could take off their burdens and move around as light as a swallow. He didn't believe that such warriors would be worse than other tribes, not to mention the blessing of advanced cold weapons. To be fair, you also have to carry weights on your body, just treat it as your daily training. Subai rubbed the girl's head. Of course he didn't want the girls to suffer, but they are totem warriors, so there is nothing they can do about it. What's more, they themselves are quite happy. As totem warriors, they naturally hope that they can stronger. Needless to say that, if you hadn't told us, we would have brought our own weight bags. Yanhua smiled heartily. Niojiao Niang originally wanted to secretly bring the weight bag, thinking that she could just take this opportunity to exercise. Otherwise, those warriors will not be able to catch up after the training in this year's rainy season. Himself, wouldn't that be embarrassing? So Yanhua didn't want to be caught up by the newcomers, so he tried his best every time he trained. The veteran totem warriors couldn't help but sigh and praised them one after another. Yes, Wu, those newcomers will definitely feel very tired. If we soldiers set an example, they will definitely not say anything. Shat. Lan flicked the cat's tail, and this is also the best time to improve our strength. Wu, don't worry about us. The cat-eared lady felt warm in her heart, especially when she saw Subai frowning slightly. Not to mention how happy she was to get such concern from Wu, not to mention that she liked Wu herself. Our turnaround came not long after the rainy season ended. The corner of Subai's mouth rose slightly. He is not stupid. He understands the principle that the fragrance of flowers attracts butterflies and the size of trees attracts wind. There must be many tribes jealous of the Yanlong tribe now, and they may be discussing something. Yes, Yanhua and the two said in unison. Please update for support and customization. I was a village chief in a primitive society. Author, Big White Monster. Chapter 976. After Subai finished breakfast, he continued busy with his own affairs. The four great inventions were also fully presented in the Yanlong tribe. The first was paper making, then gunpowder, and finally printing and the compass. The compass is not difficult to make. The main material is magnet. The principle is to install a magnetic needle on a shaft. The magnetic needle can rotate freely under the action of the natural geomagnetic field and remain in the tangent direction of the magnetic meridian. The north pole of the magnetic needle points to the north magnetic pole, and this property is mainly used to identify the direction. The emergence of magnet-orienting devices has enabled people to shift from the passive orientation of observing celestial bodies to the active orientation of geomagnetic orientation. On the other side of the Earth, compasses are often used in navigation, geodesy, travel, and military affairs. Subai wanted the warriors and other members of the tribe to better identify the direction of the tribe when they went out. After all, sometimes people's intuition can be wrong, and the tracks in the forest can be easily destroyed. Especially during the rainy season, if you go out somewhere along the original route, but it keeps raining, the marks you made before are destroyed. Or maybe the surrounding environment has changed, and it is difficult to identify the direction of the tribe at this time. Wu, what is this? Yu Ying asked curiously. I'm doing gene conversion. Subai looked at the bottles and jars on the table with satisfaction. Woo, what is gene conversion? And why do we need to use so many seeds? Yu Ying shook her pink foxtail. There were many kinds of seeds on the table, including wheat seeds, rice seeds, various fruit seeds, etc. For example, is this sour fruit a bit sour? Subai took the lead in picking up a sour fruit. Yes, it's sour, that makes you frown after eating it. Yu Ying nodded without hesitation. She even showed a bit of disgust. For no other reason, this sour fruit is so sour that she can't eat it. Of course, this is just for her, and there are many people like to eat very sour food. Isn't this orange a little sweet? And it's a little too sweet. Subai picked up the orange from the table. This orange was produced from the seeds he planted in the system, cultivated and grown. It may be due to the geographical environment, plus the problem of the seeds provided by the system. The system gave them the oranges grown from the seeds are extremely sweet, so sweet that it chokes the throat. Subai doesn't like this very much, because after eating one or two pieces, he can't stand the sweetness, especially it makes the throat greasy. But for other people in the tribe, it doesn't matter. They rarely eat such sweet fruits. In addition, they bite the fruit with the skin, and the spicy taste of the orange peel neutralizes the sweetness. They still very accepting. Yes, this orange is a bit sweet and can only be canned. Yu Ying still nodded. Fox-eared lady still liked eating oranges at first, but after the production increased, the quantity also increased. Sometimes she would feel tired after eating too much, mainly because the sugar content was too high. Under the leadership of Subai, the tribe began to launch canned foods, which contained a variety of pickled foods. Not only meat, but also some vegetables were also pickled in the jars, and finally some canned fruits. So if we combine the two, will the oranges produced not be cloyingly sweet? Subai smiled. He wanted to explain it step by step so that the other party could understand it faster. So, this is indeed a good idea, but it shouldn't be possible, right? Of course Yu Ying thinks it's good to combine the flavors of the two fruits, but it's a bit difficult to implement. Little fool, forget it, I am good at witchcraft. The corner of Subai's mouth rose slightly. He had already developed a talent skill some time ago, which is the extraction and conversion technique. However, because he was busy with many things, he did not implement this talent skill specifically. It just happened that there were not many in the past 2 days. In addition, the rainy season has arrived, so I can put my work aside for the time being. The main reason is that I saw the oranges on the table during breakfast, and then I thought of using this talent skill. Yes, Wu seems to have said that something similar is witchcraft before. Yu Ying scratched the back of her head in embarrassment and muttered, the witch guild has so many witchcrafts, I didn't think about it at once. Be good, go and do your work first. Subai's tone was particularly gentle. He always spoke very gently to fox-eared lady, mainly because he wanted to make her change her personality quickly. If Wu needs anything, he can come to me. Yu Ying nodded happily. Subai moved his fingers, preparing to start the extraction and conversion technique. There were also a lot of seeds on the table. That means there are still many things to experiment with, not just oranges and sour fruits, but also even wheat has to find a way. Subai wants to combine wheat with painazidum. The ears of painazidum are particularly large, much larger than ordinary wheat. If this advantage of painazidum can be converted when it comes to wheat, the wheat will also produce a large bunch of ears. In addition, the same is true for rice. All three must be tested. Of course, vegetables and the like are not spared, and some plants are not spared at all. They are not afraid of insects. Except when there is heavy ice and snow, their leaves are always bright green. There is no sign of insect damage on them. In the primitive era, there were no insect repellents such as pesticides. Subai could only improve in this aspect. Anyway, there is no need to use the extraction and conversion technique in vain. He stretched out his hands, placed one hand on the orange, and placed the other hand on the sour fruit, and began to perform the extraction and conversion technique. A series of sapphire blue lights lit up from the palms of his hands. After that, the two fruits separated into a small chain of royal blue light. The two small chains of royal blue light slowly joined together, as if two ropes were twisted together. The whole process lasted for a full minute. It was not until the sapphire blue light slowly dissipated that Sudbai withdrew his hand. He picked up the sour fruit and the orange and weighed them, and found that they were indeed a little different from their original weights. Try it first to see how it tastes, and then you'll know if it's successful. Sudbai peeled the orange peel. He took out a piece and put it into his mouth, chewed it several times and nodded with satisfaction. It was obvious that the experiment was successful. Sudbai put the sour fruit aside and did not try the sour fruit. The taste. Because the extraction and conversion technique is to extract the benefits of one thing and convert it into another thing. Sudbai has already extracted the acidity of sour fruits, but the sweetness of oranges has not been extracted. So the current sourness, if it's still the same as before, there's no need to try. Please update for support and customization. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I was a village chief in a primitive society. Author, Big White Monster. Chapter 977. Wow. Due to the arrival of the rainy season, it has been raining non-stop. The patter of raindrops fell on the ground, the house, and the dense virgin forest. Probably due to the erosion of the rain, a large area of virgin forest looked much lusher than usual. However, because of the rain, crises began to arise quietly in the dense virgin forest. The rainy season has only arrived a few days ago, so the water level in the virgin forest is not yet high. It can be said that all the rainwater that fell went into the ground, and it took 10 days and a half to slowly accumulate. Therefore, now is the best time to enter the forest to purchase supplies and food. After a while, you will not be able to enter. Because the Yanlong tribe is located in a relatively good geographical location, even if the water rises in the primeval forest, it will not have much impact on them. What's more, even if the water in this piece of primeval forest rises, it won't matter much, it will only reach the calf at most. There is also the big river close to the Yanlong tribe, although the river water will become very fast when it rains. However, Sudbai had already taken countermeasures and arranged for people to build a dam by the river, which would have little impact on the tribe. The only thing that has an impact is the ferocious beast in the river, that is the river bear. Wu, can I go to the river? Yanhu looked pitiful. There was no other reason. Last year, because he was still a reserve warrior, he could not participate in the task of resisting the river bear. But this year is different. They have all awakened as totem warriors. Of course I really want to finish last year's regrets. Of course, I'll go check it out with you too. Sudbai stood up and smiled. When he was hunting river bears last year, he was also watching from the side, and he could also feel the urgency of the horned lady. Last year, because the weapons were not very good, it was difficult to hunt river bears. A little higher. But this year is different. The weapons workshop has produced a lot of weapons according to the drawings given by Sudbai. Of course, there are just more styles, and the quantities have not reached a lot. Because the iron ore is not, it is very easy to get. Every time the soldiers go out to search, it takes several days to find some. So far, no place with a lot of iron ore has been found. The distribution of iron ore is relatively scattered. If you want to find a certain amount of iron ore, you will need many warriors and it will take several days. This is also what worries Sudbai. If you can find a place with a lot of iron ore, the tribe can start to enter industry. Times. All kinds of things related to iron can be mass-produced, and the strength of tribes can also be greatly improved. Not only that, people's quality of life can also be improved. This is the importance of iron. Wu, I will escort you there. Yeju immediately picked up the weapon. Lang Er Niang knew Sudbai's strength, even though she no longer had to protect her. But as a personal bodyguard, even if her strength is not as strong as Wu's, she must still fulfill her responsibilities. Let's go, Sudbai said lightly. Of course he could see the change in Lang Er Niang's mood, but this was also a problem of his own strength growth and had nothing to do with Yeju. Now looking around, there is no one in the entire Yanlong tribe. His strength can surpass Sudbai. Even in many tribes, because of the blessing of the system, in addition to signing in at a fixed time, there is also a small probability of obtaining talent skills with an explosion rate. These talent skills can be carried out individually. They are all very heaven-defying existences. If Sudbai were to fight against an intermediate totem warrior now, the outcome would be decided in the blink of an eye. It's not like Yeju didn't know this truth. He had learned it since he saw Wu Wu. With the new witchcraft, I admired each other more and more in my heart. At first, I was worried about Sudbai's personal safety. For example, when I went to the jungle or met people from other tribes, Yeju would always be very worried. But it's different now. Now the witch's strength is visible to the naked eye. He can eliminate the threat to her in the blink of an eye. There is no need to worry too much. So now when she goes to the river, even though there is a river bear, she is not worried at all. Got it? Tap tap tap. 40 minutes later, Sudbai and others arrived at the riverside holding umbrellas. Since it was raining, they did not travel by carriage. The umbrella area held by everyone is very large, so there is no need to worry about getting wet. This was also Sudbai's original intention when designing the design. Umbrellas are originally meant to protect against wind and rain, but if the umbrella surface is too small, it would be a bit unnecessary. Why did Wu come here in person? It's raining now. Go back to Yong'an building quickly. Yan Jiao came over immediately. On the second day of the rainy season, he personally went to the river to direct the work. Although the tribe now has better weapons, it must not be taken lightly. It's okay, I just want to see the strength of the new weapons, Sudbai said lightly. It's boring to stay in Yong'an building every day, not to mention the constant rain and the air is not flowing properly. It's good to go out for a walk. Yes, Yeju must protect the good witch. After Yan Jiao said that, he turned around and threw himself into the command. There are many totem warriors by the river now, as well as some reserve warriors. As in previous years, they are all observing and learning from experience. I saw that every totem warrior has a hand in his hand. They wore different weapons, including halberds, spears, moon swords, axes, etc. Sudbai was not sure which weapons the totem warriors were suitable for, so he had to draw all the most lethal weapons and let the people in the factory make them. Let the totem warriors try it. Of course, the usual training will not see any effect, and now is the best time to experiment with weapons. I saw Yanhua holding a whip, charging up and running towards the river bear, very fast quick. This whip is not a soft whip like a rope, but an iron rod-like weapon that is mainly used to chop, sweep, tie, whip, draw, etc. The whip is like a bamboo joint made of steel, so it's called a bamboo steel whip. The whip is extremely powerful and is a heavy weapon. It is a weapon that is used to deal with stronger armor. This is also made by Sudbai based on the top 10 classic cold weapons from ancient times on the earth. It has an armor-breaking effect. Very strong. Ouch ow ow. Yanhua whipped down the river bear, and the river bear instantly let out a fierce scream. For no other reason, the whip hit the river bear straight on the head. The sound of the weapon colliding with the ferocious beast was dull. One can imagine how big a weapon Yanhua used. Just thinking about it makes my head hurt, not to mention the strength of the totem warrior, the effect will be even more significant. It's my turn. Shalan raised the corner of her mouth slightly. The cat-eared girl also held a weapon, an axe. Please update for support and customization. I was a village chief in a primitive society. Author, Big White Monster. Chapter 978. Shalan was also very powerful, instantly activating the power of the totem and running towards the river bear. She held the axe in one hand, kicked hard with the other foot, and instantly she flew into the air. The other hand immediately grasped the axe, and struck hard at the river bear's shoulder. Since the river bear had just been slapped on the head by the horned lady, the power of the whip was still very strong, and it was still in a dazed state. By the time he reacted and wanted to defend himself, it was already too late. Shalan had already slashed with his weapon. Ouch! Ow! Ow! The river bear screamed instantly, blood burst out from its shoulders, and it knelt on the ground in pain. But this is not over yet. King Mu and Ketu also have weapons in their hands, which are spears and Yanyu knives respectively. That's right, it's Guan Yu's Qinglong Yanyu sword, but Subai made slight changes on the drawing. The Yanlong Yanyu sword that transformed into the Yanlong tribe, its sharpness can be seen at a glance. The river bear was still roaring in pain when he saw two totem warriors running towards him again. It subconsciously wanted to stand up and resist, but due to the pain in its shoulders and the dizziness in its head, its movements began to slow down. Aoki and Akatsuki also felt that the other party wanted to resist, and did not want to give Kawakuma a chance. After stimulating the power of the totem, the speed of action becomes faster. Aoki held up the spear with one hand, as if he was about to throw a javelin. After a while, he charged up and threw the spear out. Ouch! Ow! Ow! The river bear instantly let out a violent scream. For no other reason, the spear hit it in the head. Ketu would not give the opponent a chance to breathe, and instantly rushed forward with the Flame Dragon Yanyu sword. He spun the Flame Dragon Yanyu knife in a circle with his right hand, charging up the force and starting to slash from the middle of the river bear's head. Before the river bear even had time to scream, it was instantly split into two, and the blood instantly stained the entire ground red. But because it has been raining, the rainy season did not stay on the ground for a while, and was quickly washed away by the rain into the river. Woo, the weapons you invented are so useful. Yan Jiao felt very excited instantly. These weapons were developed some time ago, but the hunting team has been cancelled. A new hunting team is being formed, and they can only enter the forest until next year. So these weapons, there has never been a good experiment, and the arrival of the rainy season is the best time to experiment. It is also the first time for the totem warriors to use these weapons in actual combat, and the effect is really beyond imagination. But there is still room for improvement. I will draw a new drawing when I go back, so keep an eye on it, Subai said lightly. Although the power of these cold weapons is indeed good, they also have relative shortcomings. For example, at the beginning, the whip in Yanhua's hand only had an armor-piercing effect, but its real lethality was not special. So Subai thought if some thrusts were added to the sides, it would not only break armor, but also increase damage. There was also an axe. Although Shalan was very good at holding it, the attack range was a bit small. Would it be better to make some changes to the area of the blade? Subai thought of many things like this, but these all require experiments, so the improvements must be completed before the end of the rainy season. Everything is subject to the witch's arrangements, Yan Jiao responded seriously. He has completely agreed with Subai. It can be said that he has agreed a long time ago. Although he was a little unconvinced at his young age at first, but due to the old witch's choice, he couldn't say anything. But since Subai took over the Yanlong tribe, everything has changed qualitatively. The Yanlong tribe can now become a prosperous medium-sized tribe, all thanks to this young wizard. Collect all the skins, meat and bones of the ferocious beasts. The bones can be researched and made into weapons, and the skins can be made into hides for use in the heavy snow and ice. Subai glanced at the corpse and then looked at the turbulent river. It was obvious that another vicious beast was coming up. Clear after Yan Jiao answered, he immediately put himself into command. There were fierce beasts coming up from the river, and the totem warriors had no time to relax. Otherwise, if these beasts started roaring, the people in the tribe would suffer again. Subai has been he stood in the rain for more than an hour and witnessed the performance of various weapons in actual combat. There were several weapons that he was very satisfied with, and that was the Tang Dao, but the quality was not very good. It was just over one when I was young, I had broken 7 or 8 Tang knives. It was obvious that weapons made of iron ore were still not very lethal to ferocious beasts. Wu, do you want to get those broken weapons back? Yeju looked at the scattered blades on the ground. Naturally, Lang Niang knew that iron ore was hard to find, so she thought that those blades could be taken back for smelting. Well, let's go back. Subai turned around and was about to leave. He had to go back and draw the ideas he was thinking of now. The best time to experiment is now. Yes, Yeju held up an umbrella and hurriedly followed behind. Wow, there really is no water in the tribe. Yu Ying looked around the ground in surprise. The fox-eared lady specially wore a pair of water shoes today. These water shoes were opened by Subai from the system. No matter the size or color, they fit Yu Ying very well, and she naturally became her yes. Pitter-patter. The rain has been pouring down, but the rain has not accumulated inside the tribe. The rain that kept falling didn't push the soil all the way into the river. This was all thanks to the drainage system in the tribe. Subai had already drawn the drainage system and sewer system before the rainy season arrived. He also ordered the totem warriors to complete these within a short period of time, so now manhole covers can be seen everywhere in the tribe. Since most of the entire tribe is now covered with cement, rainwater falling on it easily flows into the sewer. Of course, the sewers are also paved with cement. If all the rainwater does not flow into them, the soil will become very soft, leading to landslides. The final direction of sewerage circulation is the river, so rainwater continues to fall into the tribe, and eventually flows into the sewerage, and then merges into the river. Is this much better than before? Subai smiled slightly. He also saw the changes in the tribe, and this feeling was quite good. After all, the tribe in the past was a disaster when it came to the rainy season. There were muddy potholes everywhere, and water accumulation was even more common. As soon as the rainy season came, everyone, what's more, I don't want to go out at all. Once I go out, my whole body will be dirty, and I will fall into a mud puddle if I'm not careful. It's just so much better, Yu Ying responded without hesitation. Now you can see many people coming out of the tribe one after another. You no longer have to worry about stepping on the soft soil. Please update for support and customization. I was a village chief in a primitive society. Author, Big White Monster. Chapter 979. Sign into the system and receive your assistance package, Subai shouted to the system in his heart. Ding. Congratulations to the host for successfully signing in. Ding, congratulations to the host for receiving primary aid, a fine whetstone. Subai twitched the corner of his mouth a few times and said helplessly, okay, although there are grindstones everywhere, the ones produced by the system are always good. He could only comfort himself in this way, otherwise he expects the system to always have good things every day. This is not realistic. After all, he has only obtained the flame control technique not long ago, so he should be content. He got up and went to the restaurant to finish breakfast, and was ready to go take a look at Coco's research results in the laboratory. Crunch. Subai first knocked on the door and then slowly opened the laboratory door. He originally wanted to wait for the other party's response before opening it, but the other party did not respond for a long time. He immediately understood that the other party must be obsessed with research. That's why I didn't hear the knock on the door outside. What are you doing that makes you so absorbed? Subai said gently. He slowed down his pace as much as possible and kept his voice as low as possible, just to avoid letting the other party suddenly be frightened. The witch is coming. Keek immediately prepared to stand up. She really didn't hear it. Her golden eyes were always looking at the materials on the table. Coco's breakfast was specially brought in by Yuying for her. Originally, the fox-eared lady wanted to put it down and wait for the other party to eat. Come back and collect them after you finish. Who knew that the blonde girl was so direct that she finished the wheat porridge in one go, and even the fried wild eggs in one go. It's okay, just sit back. How far has the research on banknotes reached? Subai pressed the other party's shoulders and sat down. Keek sat down embarrassedly, and said with a slightly red face, "Woo, the research on banknotes has already become somewhat obvious. You are here just in time, so you can check it out by the way. The blonde girl has almost finished her research. She was going to report on her work in the afternoon and wanted to continue to improve." "Oh? So fast? Tell me about it," Subai said lightly. It's only been a few days, and he felt that the blonde girl's progress was pretty good. It's all because of the wizard's paper-making skills and the help and cooperation of other people, otherwise it really wouldn't be so fast. Coco smiled sheepishly. Indeed, the tribe's workshop has always been very cooperative with her, and the people in the tribe will do their best to meet her needs. This also saves Coco the time of constantly looking for materials. For this reason, she even made a special trip to the paper-making workshop to see how paper was made. Of course, this was mainly to study banknotes, and it was also with Subai's permission, otherwise she would not dare to go to these forbidden places. But that's right. It was because she went to the paper-making workshop, and many things she didn't understand before were instantly understood. The reason for the faster progress was that she fundamentally understood the production of paper, so that she could control the quality of raw materials. As long as it can make banknotes available, visiting the workshop is a trivial matter. Subai smiled faintly. "Woo, take a look at these pieces of paper first and see if the talisman matches the quality of the banknotes in your mind." Keek immediately took out the results of the past few days from the drawer. She spent the whole day running between the laboratory and the workshop, and the research results were tightly shut in the drawer. It was even locked. That lock, it was Subai who drove it from the system, and the blonde girl even hid the key close to her body. The paper quality of these sheets is indeed quite good, but this one is not good. It is a bit too thick and heavy. I haven't even picked up a few banknotes yet. Isn't it a big stack in my hand? Subai eliminated the first one and started to look at the following papers. He read 4 or 5 papers before he saw one he was satisfied with. This one is pretty good. You see, the thickness is just right and the toughness is also very good. Subai got some water on it, observed it for a while and continued. The waterproof performance is also very good. Even if it is stained with water, it will not have any effect at all. This is the best raw material for paper. He was really excited for a while. After studying it for so long, he finally saw good raw materials, which also means that banknotes will be promoted soon. I also think this one is the best. This paper combines 3 raw materials to achieve what it is now. Keek was very excited. Even if the previous ones were rejected, it is good if one of them is confirmed now, and her efforts will not be in vain. Which materials? Subai asked curiously. He could guess that this paper was made of several materials, and the quality of the paper was different when he held it in his hand. The 3 main materials are orange tree pulp, wheat pulp, and stonethorn tree pulp. These 3 raw materials must be mixed in strict proportions. Coco's face was full of excitement and she was dancing. In addition, we need to add some various small materials, and the proportions must be fixed, so that we can achieve what it is now. She immediately opened the drawer and took out the notepad. On it were the proportions she recorded. Although the writing was crooked, it was still understandable. Subai looked at the notepad and was very satisfied and praised, "You did a good job this time and helped the Yanlong tribe a lot. What reward do you want?" Sure enough, he was right about the blonde girl. There was a lot of data written densely on the notepad. It was obvious that every ratio was being registered. Moreover, the other party helped research the raw materials of bank notes, so it is only normal to give some rewards. Coco shook her head repeatedly and said happily, "No need for witches, this is what I should do, and I have to repay the tribe, without any reward." The Yanlong tribe not only saved her life, but also helped take back the Haiu tribe. These two are enough for her to serve the Yanlong tribe unconditionally. One code equals one code. This is the reward you deserve. Tell me if there is anything you want, Subai insisted. Of course he knew what the girl was thinking, but that was all in the past. Now that he is willing to work for the Yanlong tribe, he must still give him the reward he deserves. Wu, the paper currency has not been fully developed yet. When it is finally fully released, I will ask Wu for a reward, Coco resisted. Only the raw materials for the banknotes have been solved, and the coloring problem has not been solved, so there is no way to accept the reward with peace of mind so early. Do you have any idea about the coloring issue? Subai saw that the other party insisted. That's all. It will be the same if he gives again in the future. There is nothing new yet, but I have already asked people to start collecting raw materials for me. I believe there will be good news in a few days, Coco said firmly. Subai rubbed the other person's head and said gently, "I know, have a good rest today and don't stay in the laboratory anymore." "But which?" Coco wanted to say something, but was interrupted by Subai's gesture. "Rest first, otherwise the lab will be confiscated." Subai made a silent gesture. Yes, Keek had no choice but to compromise. There was no other way. Who made the laboratory important to her? Please update for support and customization. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I was a village chief in a primitive society. Author, Big White Monster. Chapter 980. Ever since Madara came to the Flame Dragon tribe, his whole person has changed a lot. Originally he wasn't very talkative and kept to himself, but after he came to the tribe, he suddenly started talking more. Anyway, I say hello to everyone I meet, and acquaintances even get together to chat. This makes some people who don't know him think there is something wrong with him. Life in the Yanlong tribe is really great. Madara has been soaked in the rain. The previous rainy season was dangerous and even fatal for him, but now it is the same as ordinary days for him. He now eats after training every day, sleep after eating, and train after waking up. Although training is painful, it is better than escaping in the forest. Since I lost the beast crystal, I feel as if my whole body has come to life. Madara has been boxing in the rain, enjoying the pleasure of the rain washing his body. He would not have dared to do this before. He felt that his chest was aching all the time, and it was too late to escape. He dared to get wet in the rain. Your boy seems to be in good condition. Kang Shi walked over. He was used to being exposed to the rain, and now he didn't hold an umbrella or wear a raincoat or anything like that. Doesn't the big boss need to lead his team on patrol? Madara stopped punching. He is now managed by Shahong, that is, he belongs to the special bureau. What's more, his strength is that of an intermediate totem warrior. Although he was lifted up with the help of the ferocious beast crystal, you are still better than an ordinary totem warrior. I have handed over the task. Now it is my time to rest and prepare to go back. I just happened to see you in the rain. Kang Shi pushed his rain-drenched hair back behind him, and the huge muscles on his body were washed away by the rain. He will soon break through and become an intermediate totem warrior, and now there is only one opportunity left. So now Kang Shi looks very powerful, giving people a deep sense of oppression. Even if Madara is a totem warrior, he can still feel the deep difference. I just like the life of the tribe too much, so I came out to vent, and I won't disturb the big boss's rest. After Madara finished speaking, he was about to leave. He has been trying to calm down a bit lately, and he is indeed a little too active. Although the rain is nothing to them, they haven't seen anyone dancing around in the rain. Yes. If you want to train, go to the training ground to train. It is indeed a bit strange to train in a random place now. It's okay, the young man has a bright future. If he trains hard, he will soon be able to catch up with a large number of totem warriors. Kenshi smiled heartily. He has always been optimistic about the powerful totem warriors. What's more, Madara is indeed ranked high in strength in the Flame Dragon tribe. From the beginning, he always arranged for people to keep an eye on him. After all, not everyone can trust him in this era. What's more, he is a member of the exiled tribe, and he is also very strong, so he has to be more careful. But it turns out that Kangxi thinks too much, and every day passes. In the past, there was obviously nothing wrong with Madara. He was very curious about everything about the Flame Dragon tribe, but he would stop in moderation. Madara was not a fool. He knew that there were some things he could ask and some things he couldn't. If they were places that were relatively confidential and he couldn't even look at them, he would never take a step. There were many workshops and various technologies in the Flame Dragon tribe, but Madara did not interfere with any of them. Xiang. Let alone asking others, he had never even taken a sneak peek. The only things Madareno was curious about were the cement houses and cement avenues, but they were only limited to curiosity and shock. He knew that he was not qualified to go what to ask, let alone what he is not qualified to know. Being able to stay in the Yanlong tribe to train and eat delicious food every day is enough for him. The most important thing is the physical discomfort that has been bothering him. It was also solved by Subai. This was the turning point when Madara wanted to truly identify the Yanlong tribe. He naturally knew what his duty was. If the rainy season hadn't come, the big boss would have been able to break through and become an intermediate totem warrior soon. Madara felt sorry for the other party. He thought that if the tribe's hunting team was still there, they would have already broken through. I know what you are thinking, but your concerns are not entirely correct. Kangxi smiled again. What's the meaning? Madara looked confused. Even if the hunting team is still maintained, I may not be able to break through immediately. The reason why I am ready to break through so soon has a lot to do with Wu. Kangxi started to walk towards his room. If Wu hadn't always given me a large amount of blood and flesh of ferocious beasts and sufficient food, I wouldn't have been able to move so fast. Although the hunting team is looking for food for the tribe, the food they find each time can only be enough to feed the tribe's people. It is impossible to completely eat them. Although they, as totem warriors, can eat more, eat some. But the most important purpose is to feed the entire tribe, which is definitely different from now. Now they don't have to worry about food at all. The blood and flesh of the ferocious beasts stored before are still enough, which is enough for the soldiers to eat every day. Got it? That's right. There are relatively few people in our tribe who can eat all they want every day, not to mention that we are not a very large tribe. Madara thought that the number of totem warriors in the tribe was not as large as the number of warriors in other tribes of the same size. It must be more difficult to obtain food, not to mention that everyone has to have enough to eat. As long as you stay in the tribe for a while, you will understand that the Yanlong tribe is a tribe worth protecting with your life. Kangxi smiled happily again. He doesn't want to explain so much, and he's not the kind of person who likes to talk too much. In short, you only need to experience everything yourself. I understand. Madara stopped following him halfway. He was indeed impressed by the Yanlong tribe, especially those unknown cold weapons, unknown food crops, unknown management methods, etc., but it was also these unknown things shocked him very much. It would be great if the eldest sister could be here now. She would definitely be shocked by the Yanlong tribe. Madara murmured to himself. He raised his head and let the rain wash over his face. After a while, he walked towards the training ground. There were many people greeting him along the way, and it was obvious that they had already talked to Yan Long. The tribe is united. I'm going to find the most powerful totem warrior to spar. Madano thought of this and sped up, taking 3 steps and 1 step at a time. Please update for support and customization. I was a village chief in a primitive society. Author, Big White Monster. Chapter 981. Wow! The rain in the rainy season is like broken beads, constantly falling from the sky. The crackling sound is very loud, and it has different sounds in different places. If someone who is leisurely and elegant comes to listen, they may think it is beautiful music. Wu, the chief has brought 2 sisters. Do you want to meet them? Yu Ying's voice was very low. For no other reason, Subai was reading quietly, and the fox-eared lady was afraid that she would disturb her. 2 sisters? Who? Subai raised his head and asked. It seems that he discovered it by accident. The chief said that you will know it when you see it, Yu Ying continued. Didn't I say that? When the chief comes in the future, he can come in directly without asking me. Subai put down the book. This book is a management book. It will be useful for him to read more. Because he saw Wu handling things quietly, the chief saw him at the door and stepped back. Yu Ying didn't dare to raise her head. When Subai saw the other party's look, he knew that the fox-eared lady had misunderstood that she was angry. He stood up and said gently, I'm not angry. Let the chief come in. Yes, Yu Ying immediately beamed with joy and immediately went to the door to call the chief. Wu, I heard it all, I don't blame Xiao Yu, I did it all, Yan Jiao explained immediately as soon as he entered the door. He knew that the fox-eared girl had always been very diligent and was very capable in taking care of witches. He didn't want such a good witch to be replaced. Who knows if the next witch will do well. I'm not angry, Xiao has always been fine, don't worry. The corner of Subai's mouth twitched. How dare he speculate on himself like this? He really wanted to say, I am not a tyrant, I am a wise king, but forget it, the thinking of people in the primitive era is like this for the time being, and it will take a long time to correct it. Subai saw the 2 girls at the door and looked at the chief to signal. Yan Jiao reacted and said quickly, oh, it's such a witch. When the soldiers were patrolling, they found some paintings, so I took them brought here. Painting? Subai raised his eyebrows slightly, just bring the painting over here. Why do you have to bring people over here? If you don't know, you think you have done something big and bad. Witches, that's all, there are quite a few. Yan Jiao handed over a stack of leaves. Subai took the leaves and began to look at them one by one. The paintings on them were almost all made with charcoal. The leaves were not green leaves, but very dry leaves. And they are also very flat and tough. Many people pick up this kind of leaves because they can be used as clothing when strung together. If you get more of them, they will have good shielding properties. The paintings above are all very good. Although they are not particularly exquisite, they are still very impressive. Subai kept praising me. The paintings on the leaves are all about the daily life of the tribe, such as the scenes of soldiers patrolling by the tribe when it rains, the scenes of women gossiping, etc. In short, you can understand it? According to Subai, in other words, in modern times, these paintings can be regarded as excellent works by college students, but they still need to be carefully crafted. I was shocked when I saw it, but I didn't know how to make the decision, so I had no choice but to bring it over to see a witch. Yan Jiao said seriously. Subai nodded thoughtfully and said, bring them 2 in, and I'll ask. Anyway, everyone has been brought here. Wouldn't it be better to ask me directly? Yan Jiao nodded, turned around and asked people to bring them in. He told the totem warriors to protect the good witch and left. As a tribe, the chief has a lot of things to do. Since Wuda has already wanted to see them, he just hurriedly got busy with other things. Which, the two sisters spoke tremblingly. Wen and Min didn't dare to raise their heads. The aura exuded by Subai was too strong, and Yong'an building was the place the two sisters had always dreamed of. Now that it suddenly came, it was a little bit, they were caught off guard. As early as in the tribe, they had been hearing people praising witches, and some even said that Yong'an Tower is the happiest place in the world. The two sisters had heard these words too many times, but they were brought here by the chief himself, so they were not scared. That's not normal. Well, don't be nervous, I don't eat people. Did you draw this together? Subai could see the two sisters trembling all the time. He began to doubt himself in his heart. He was obviously very handsome, but now he made two Lolita scared like this. He really had to blame himself. Others wanted Lolita. They all wanted it. Min immediately shook his head, mustered up the courage to raise his head and said these paintings were painted by me alone and have nothing to do with my sister. She thought that these paintings made Wu unhappy, or that they were not qualified to paint. After all, there were very few people who could paint. Min could only take this responsibility immediately. In this way, Wu's punishment would also be punishment. Just myself. Elder sister, Wen just wanted to say something, but Min immediately covered her mouth, and then both lowered their heads. Subai certainly understood what it meant when he saw this, smiled and said, you don't have to be afraid, I will ask who painted it. Not to punish, but to reward. He spoke as gently as possible. It can be seen that the girls are really afraid of the identity of the witch. Wu, is this true? Min immediately raised her head and said. She was still a little doubtful in her heart. Anyway, as long as Wu doesn't blame them, it doesn't matter what the reward is. Of course it's true, why would I lie to you? This is a strength, a good thing, and your talent. Why should you be blamed? Subai took a sip of tea. He picked up 2 oranges from the table and handed them to the other party, indicating that the other party could relax. Min took the oranges tremblingly, and began to let go of his fear, and slowly said, actually, those paintings were all painted by my sister, and she is really good at painting. She could feel that the aura emanating from the witch was no longer oppressive, and she began to feel gentle. No, 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 those paintings were all painted by my sister. Please reward my sister. Wen spoke immediately. My sister is also very sensible. She only wants her sister to get rewards, and the rest doesn't matter. Ha 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 ha, there will be rewards. Subai smiled and continued to ask, are you willing to learn painting? It's hard to find talents, and they need to be cultivated properly. I can be more relaxed in the future. After all, there are not many talents in painting. Learning to draw, the two sisters were stunned at the same time. They didn't expect this kind of treatment. They thought they would be scolded, and they were very scared. That's right, want to learn? Subai asked again. Min and Wen suddenly didn't know how to answer. Please update for support and customization. I was a village chief in a primitive society. Author, Big White Monster. Chapter 982. Don't be nervous, just relax. Yu Ying's soft voice sounded. Fox Ear Girl could feel the two sisters' confusion, which was all written on their faces. Min slowly raised his head, looked at Fox Ear Girl in astonishment, and said, we really may I. They only know that the tribe does teach children to read, but not to learn to draw. So they are a little nervous now, and neither of them knows what to do. It's absolutely okay. You have talents in this area. It's natural that you can learn to draw. Wus attach great importance to talents. Yu Ying continued to explain gently, in order to make the two sisters relax as much as possible. Sister, I want to learn to draw. Wu must know about this. Wen suddenly said in a low voice. The little girl really wanted to paint, and she no longer wanted to hide and paint. If she hadn't put a few painted leaves at the door to dry when she was sorting things out today. If you forget to take it back, there is a high probability that it will not be discovered. But it is good to be discovered. At least you no longer have to worry about it being something wrong. Anyway, the witch didn't blame them now, right? He also allowed them to learn to draw. My heart can still be calm. Woo, we can really learn to draw, right? Men didn't dare to look up when she said this. Although they are young, one is 10 years old and the other is 16, they have heard a lot about witches. Before Subai became a witch of the Yanlong tribe, the witch was a very serious words. Everyone must be respectful when seeing a witch. There is no other reason, because the witch is the mainstay of a tribe. Without witches, there would be no tribe. What's more, the old witch was very old and rarely appeared in public, so everyone's feelings towards witches have always been out of reach. Now, suddenly I am in front of a witch and asked if I want to learn to draw. It's really shocking. As long as you are willing, it is not a bad thing to learn to draw, and there is no need to feel uneasy, Subai explained. He felt that everyone's hearts were still too closed. He didn't expect that they would think that painting was a bad thing. They had to hide it when doing it. They would even have to do it when they were discovered. I am worried about whether I will be punished. There is still a long way to go to change everyone's thinking. If possible, Wu, I would like my sister to learn to draw, Min said very sincerely. She doesn't know how to draw, not at all. Those words were drawn by Wen herself and have nothing to do with her. Even if she wants to learn to draw, she still knows nothing about drawing. Don't waste time. Instead of doing this, it's better to do more work in exchange for labor value, which can also be exchanged for more food for the two of them. Once my sister learns to draw, if she also learns it, no one will have to work. That means no food. Men will not do this. Don't you want to learn? Subai asked. Minchinj raised his head in fear and said cautiously, "Which, I can't draw." After the girl said this, she immediately lowered her head. Although the witch's facial features are really beautiful, it would be disrespectful to look at her for more than a second. This is what her previous mother taught everyone. People without status are not warriors. You can't stare at a witch for too long. In fact, there is no such rule. It's just that people living at the bottom are too cautious. They don't want to cause trouble. If they can avoid one thing. For example, if they don't look directly at a witch for too long, it's their fault. The rule of survival is to avoid being used by some thoughtful people to cause trouble. It's not like this has happened before. So what are you good at? Subai asked unhurriedly. It is indeed difficult for people without basic knowledge to learn, so there is no need to force the other person to learn this. Instead, it is better to learn based on what the other person is good at. For example, Chi La, Lulu, there are two people, one is learning embroidery and the other is learning to make musical instruments. Both of them have different skills. Which, I can do everything, process animal skins, make animal skin clothing, carry things, clean the tribe, etc. As long as everyone can do it, I can do it. Men said a lot in one breath, for fear of making Wu feel useless. If my sister really learns to draw in the future, she will have to work harder in the future. Many people can do this. Do you have any special skills? Subai continued to ask patiently. He knew that the other party was afraid, so he told so many things in one breath. Different specialties? Min muttered, squinting her eyes slightly and starting to think about what she was good at. She had been in the Yanlong tribe for a long time, and it seemed that she had been doing the same thing back and forth, and there was nothing particularly different about it. When was at this time? Gently tugging on the corner of Min's clothes, a soft and cute voice rang out, and she said, "Sister's food is the most delicious. This is the most special thing about my sister. Wen, don't talk nonsense, that's what I used to coax you, It's not really a specialty. Min quickly signaled the other party to keep the voice down. Subai listened and asked curiously, what is the food your sister is talking about? After all, the food that everyone can get is fixed. He is still curious about what the girl can make with the fixed food. It's just using the food you get from work to make different food, which is considered a readjustment, Min said slowly. She still didn't dare to raise her head. This was just a clever trick, not really a special skill. She thought. What kind of readjustment? Can you show me a demonstration? Subai's curiosity became even greater. Just boil the dried meat you received in water, and then add various wild vegetables, flowers, etc. Min said in detail, it is nothing more than relying on wild vegetables, wild flowers, and the like to enhance the freshness of the meat and dilute the original fishy smell of the meat. Or you can boil some wild fruits in it, and the meat will be very soft and rotten, and have some sour and fruity aroma. There are still many people in the tribe who do this, but everyone is lazy and has stopped doing it over time. Then you could learn how to cook, which might be a good job. Subai smiled faintly. Woo, what is cooking? Min said doubtfully. Just make 3 meals a day, and make them different every time. Can you do it? Subai asked. It's not that he wants to eat something different every day, he just wants to give the girl an incentive to make her more motivated. Is it different every time? Min murmured to himself, raised his head and asked, Woo, do you have any materials for me? Of course, why not? Subai opened his hand to express his reassurance. Min was so happy that his eyes almost burst into laughter. He nodded heavily and said, Woo, I am willing. Please update for support and customization. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I was a village chief in a primitive society. Author, Big White Monster. Chapter 983. Wow. The rain continued day and night with no intention of stopping. Within the Spotted Deer tribe, in the chief's wooden house, some highly respected people gathered together to discuss matters. There was only one issue they discussed, and that was about the market. Is this a market tribe? Ever since the Yanlong tribe opened its big market, the Spotted Deer tribe's market has become worse day by day. It's not like there's no one at all, it's just not as lively as before. There's no crowds of people everywhere like before, and there are only a few left. Chief, what should we do? Someone said. Lu Shi frowned and said, didn't you come back after exchanging goods with the Yanlong tribe? Why don't many people come to our tribe? He is very helpless and a little angry now. There is no solution to the current situation at all. Actually, that's not entirely true. If Lulin hadn't gone to discuss with the Yanlong tribe before, I'm afraid we still wouldn't be able to retain the current people, someone explained. Indeed, the Antler girl went to the Yanlong tribe on behalf of the Spotted Deer tribe before, and what she went to discuss was the exchange of goods. After all, the Spotted Deer tribe is a market tribe, and when she went to get the goods, she definitely hoped that the other party would not. The lion is very open-minded. The best thing can be exchanged for the least amount of things. Obviously, Lulin has done it, and every item of goods will be more cost-effective than what the Yanlong tribe can exchange for in the current big market. I am afraid that despite this, Spotted Deer the tribe still cannot return to its previous heyday. It can be said that the number of people has decreased by 2/3. In less than a year, the Yanlong tribe has absorbed so many guests from the Spotted Deer tribe. As time goes by, it becomes even more unpopular. New. What's the use? Everyone says that the goods from the Yanlong tribe are good, but we also have goods from the Yanlong tribe, but we can't keep people. Lu Shi was very anxious. After all, as the chief of the tribe, all he has to do is think about the entire tribe. Maybe everyone didn't know these things, so everyone still went to the Yanlong tribe, someone said. They can't complain like the chief, Otherwise the entire tribe will not need to develop. If they continue to complain, there may be a war. How could I not know? I have asked many tribes to help me spread this news. It has been so long, so everyone should know it. The chief ate a wild fruit and asked doubtfully, why would you rather go to the Yanlong tribe so far away than to come to the nearby one like me? He was really puzzled. Obviously what they wanted was the Yanlong tribe's goods. Why did they go to the river in the extra step? Maybe the Yanlong tribe has something that our tribe doesn't have, someone muttered. Every tribe cannot be the same. Of course, there is not much difference. However, the customs and clothing between tribes will still be a little different. I heard that the stone houses of the Yanlong tribe are very special. Could it be that they all came to see the stone houses? Lu Shi frowned. He had heard from Lu Yaoniang before that the Yanlong tribe was really different from ordinary tribes. Stone houses, stone avenues, etc. Most of the people were wearing linen, as if they were Azabu is free of charge, and there are delicious food stores and so on. Lu Shi was very curious about the Flame Dragon tribe when he heard about it, and wanted to go and see it. However, as the chief of the Spotted Deer tribe, this idea is absolutely unacceptable. It was revealed. Otherwise, even the chief would think so, let alone other people, so he kept suppressing this idea in his heart. That is why he still questioned the Yanlong tribe when he opened his mouth now, so that others could know that he did not want to meaning of leaving. I think this should be the case. Recently, I can always hear people from our tribe hating the Flame Dragon tribe, someone said. But no, almost all the news comes from people who come to our tribe to exchange things. They said that they would not come to our tribe to exchange things if it was not that the rainy season was approaching and they ran out of time, another person said. To actually say this, it seems that it is really necessary to go to the Yanlong tribe, Lu Shi said seriously. He often heard these words. He was too embarrassed to ask about going to the Yanlong tribe before, but now this time is just right. We're going to, maybe we'll find something good. Yes, we can also discuss with the chief of the Yanlong tribe and ask them to give us some of the people. What you think is so beautiful, which market tribe would be willing to do this? What's more, the Yanlong tribe's market is a big market, which is completely different from a market. I just want to see the stone houses of the Yanlong tribe and see if they are really that magical. People started discussing one after another in the wooden house. Almost everyone wanted to go to the Yanlong tribe. Some of you are not totem warriors, so don't join in the fun. You can't protect yourself even if you enter the forest. Lu. She raised his hand and pressed it, and continued, you just stay and help me manage the tribe. If I leave, you will also leave. What will happen to the tribe? You can let Lu Jiao come over. He will inherit the position of chief in the future, so he can just get some experience, someone suggested. Lu Yao is Lu Shi's eldest son. He has been learning how to manage the tribe with the chief recently. Of course, he is also a totem warrior, but a junior totem warrior. He has just awakened and his strength is not, it is considered very strong. Lu Jiaokong has the status of a chief heir. If he is not strong enough in the future, he will still be eliminated. He has only just awakened for a year, and there are still many things to learn. The most important thing is to improve his own strength, such as management. Lu. She was worried about his son and continued, just let me go with a few totem warriors. If you stay, Lu Lin will also help you with the market. He has insisted on this. We can't let everyone in the wooden house go. Then the Spotted Deer tribe will be in chaos. It's still early, it's still the rainy season, it will take more than 90 days, someone said unhurriedly. Lu Shi thought about it seriously and made a big decision. I plan to set off during the rainy season, so that people from other tribes don't know. Chief, we have never gone out during the rainy season. Is this decision unreasonable? Someone questioned. I said this is my plan. As for whether I will do this or not, it is still one thing. I will discuss it with Wu, so don't worry. Lu Shi knew that everyone would react this way, and he still had to discuss everything with Wu. Yes, you need to discuss it with the witch. The witch should know what to do, the man nodded. Please update for support and customization. I was a village chief in a primitive society. Author, Big White Monster. Chapter 984. Subai encountered something embarrassing early this morning, which might be nothing in modern times. But in primitive times with low cultural level, this was really embarrassing. Nothing else, that's what girls do, that's what girls do every month. Yanhua, Shaolin, and others had solved the problem by themselves before, but Subai didn't think of it. Because he himself would never experience such a thing, and he didn't see it, he naturally ignored it. But it wasn't until breakfast today that Subai saw blood stains on Yuying's clothes and suddenly realized. Of course the fox-eared lady was very embarrassed, she didn't notice it at first. And Yuying remembered that she had already taken care of it last night, but because she got up a little late this morning, she couldn't care about these things for a while. By the time the work was done, everyone had come over to prepare for breakfast, and then I remembered that it had not been processed yet. Wu, I'll take care of it right now. Yuying blushed and ran away. Because of this, the dining table fell into a deathly silence, and everyone at the table was embarrassed. Yanhua kept her head down while drinking wheat porridge and did not dare to raise her head. It turned very red immediately. She drank several mouthfuls of wheat porridge and muttered, "Today's wheat porridge is so hot." Yanhua could only change the topic like this. The scene just now was too embarrassing. She thought of herself again every month, and now that she saw Wu's expression, she was even more embarrassed and didn't dare to look up. Yes, the wheat porridge is very hot, but the fried eggs are delicious. Shalan also buried her head deeply. The cat-eared girl's cattail kept swinging back and forth in embarrassment, and the cat-eared girl was shaking like crazy. The blush on her face was even more obvious, like the kind of confession letter she writes. Just like the children who were discovered. Subai did feel a little embarrassed when he saw the two of them constantly changing the topic. The embarrassment was not because he thought the girls came there every month, but because of the girls' performance. Obviously these are the reasons why physiological knowledge is not widely popularized. It is a very common thing, but it makes them feel like it is a very wrong thing. In fact, you don't need to be shy. In my old hometown, this was very normal. As long as you use good things, no one will notice. Subai sat upright and said seriously. How do you usually solve it? Let me help you figure it out. He must solve this matter, otherwise it will be a lot of trouble. We can't turn the tribe into a city in the future, and this matter will still not be solved, right? In this way, it will not be regarded as a city, but the gold and jade are just ruined on the outside. We are all, Yanhua kept her head down while she was talking, not daring to look up at Subai. That, the same goes for Shaolin, and the cat's tail is wagging even more. Both of them were embarrassed and didn't dare to raise their heads. They kept their heads down and frantically shoveled the wheat porridge into their mouths. Don't be embarrassed, you can boldly say in front of me that this is a normal physiological phenomenon, Subai encouraged. He also understood that it was difficult for people who have always been conservative to say these things, but they had to deal with it and just guide them slowly. But seeing their blushing looks, it was obvious that this was not true. Simple. I will use some soft animal skins as a cushion, or dry plants. Yanhua took courage and said. After saying this, Niujiao Niang immediately lowered her head, her face became even redder, as if it were a cooked crab. If there are no other conditions, you can only rinse it, but it seems that there is no way to completely remove it. Shat. Lan also lowered her head and said cautiously, they may take some leaves, but they can't rest. Indeed, they think this is something very embarrassing, and they also think it is a symptom of poor health, so they will not tell anyone at all. As long as the time is up, just take something to plug it and try not to let the blood drip. They still have to work normally. Even if they are very uncomfortable, even if they endure the pain, they will not say anything. Is that all? Sudbai said in shock, but then he could understand that this is the only way to do it in the current environment. That's it? The better people in the big tribes will take some of the better animal skins and hairs, and the rest will really take some of the worse ones. Yanhua slowly raised her head, because they all feel that they are not in good health. There is no need to use such a good animal skin. They can just deal with it for a few days. Is this crazy? Do you know this is wrong? Sudbai frowned slightly. You must know that if it is not handled properly, it is easy to get infected and sick. This has not been a trivial matter since ancient times. Many times, women do not grow as long as men do. It is for this reason. They don't take this problem seriously and don't face it directly, and they may even think that it is a very bad and unlucky thing. Boys will not care about these things, while girls will feel that if they speak out, they will get a lot of looks and all kinds of bad things. Treatment and so on, so they usually deal with it by themselves. If you are lucky, you will not have any major problems throughout your life, or you may live to be in your 30s. If you are not lucky, you can only live until your adolescence. How does Wu's hometown treat this kind of thing? Yanhua asked curiously. She hadn't seen such a serious face in Sudbai for a long time, and realized that the matter was quite serious. Does Wu's hometown have a different way of dealing with it? Can't we just use animal skins? Shalan said doubtfully. First of all, it must be kept clean. It is unhygienic to use leaves or animal skins directly. You will get sick faster, and the diseases you get will make you very painful. Sudbai was very patient, and this is not something to be ashamed of. Don't think it's anything, it's a normal thing. This solution will be discussed later. The most important thing is to make them feel that this is not a wrong thing. Only by letting them get rid of this idea first, it will be much easier to change it later. Understand, I believe everything Wu said, and I have always felt that this is none of our business. Yanhua has always been assertive. When she got her period for the first time, she was very panicked and didn't even know what to do. But she knew that many girls in the tribe would be like this, and she felt in her heart that it was nothing. Question. Also, her grandmother taught her when she was a child that this is normal. Please update for support and customization.